if they donated $51,300.
Exactly.
All right, let's keep it moving.
Okay.
We got our next guest, Eddie Taylor.
What's up? Happy 513 Day.
Hey,
Happy 513 Day, Eddie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Are you with Stipe, or he called you in off the bench?
He called me in off the bench.
All right. I didn't know. Yeah, he went to the bullpen, went to the lefty, got you in. So let the people know, Eddie, what you do and your involvement with Cincy Reigns.
Yeah, so I'm our assistant director of NIL innovation, and pretty much my day-to-day is just helping the student athletes build their brand and figure out what makes sense for them in NIL. You know, not everyone approaches the same. And so, you know, the way I work with Dante is different the way I work with Jillian versus the way I work with Cameron Callahan, and the list goes on. So a big part of my job is sitting down with the athletes one-on-one and, you know, identifying how we can best help them leverage their platforms. And with Cincy Reigns, really, it's just about being that kind of medium, you know, providing education. A lot of it's really just communication. You know, when NIL first started, the rules weren't as relaxed as they were now. So there was a lot of stuff that we couldn't do or they couldn't do that they can do now. And I had to be the medium to educate them. So, but I love Cincy Reigns, great organization. We're really lucky to have them because a lot of my peers do not have the same relationship with their collective that we do.
And we've talked about that a lot today. I think that's important for people to understand when I know there's been from fans some trepidation about being involved in collectives and you know, the stigma that has kind of grown around that. I think it's important for people to know at UC it's done the right way. There's not shady business happening. There is actual foresight. There is actual planning. Like you said, you work with this guy a little different than you work with this guy, and you work with, you know, this athlete on their business plan is better here and this one. So I think it's important for people to touch on that, Eddie, and understand your donation is not haphazardly just being tossed up into the wind, that there's actually some vision around it.
I think if you look at Cincy Reigns as a whole, I think a lot of the stuff they do actually goes a little unnoticed. Our guys and gals are really taken care of as far as, you know, they get these NIL opportunities. Yes. And that's, you know, what is written about, but what you don't see is, the love and care that the volunteers at Cincy Reigns have for the athletes. Like I have, you know, never seen it before, especially from a group of volunteers like Ken, Brian Fox, Tracy, Chris Miliano. I think I'm forgetting someone. I'm sorry, but you know, the volunteers at Cincy Reigns, they all like genuinely want to help these kids out, and you know, don't just want to provide them with opportunities, but also with education. I've had so many, you know, I work a lot with football, and I'll hear like a player go, "Oh yeah, I was talking to so and so, and they said this is the best way for me to like grow my business," or like, you know. I don't think 3 years ago, pre-NIL, would I hear locker room talk about taxes and investment portfolios. And the fact that we are is nothing but a good thing. And a lot of that is due to the love and care that comes in through Cincy Reigns.
That's the main thing that people.
I was going real quick. Eddie, we did have a conversation earlier today, and Luke Kandra would like to get into the food space. So just a heads up, he's looking to start a pizza, the Kandra. So we'll get to work on that for you.
Hey, the easiest way to start that is if you're a pizza place or you want to make the Kandra pizza, just email me. My email's on the website, and I will get you going.
You can shamelessly donate, or you can shamelessly drop that email address here right now if you want while people are listening.
Eddie.taylor@uc.edu.
There you go.
Easy enough. Easy enough. So Eddie, you mentioned like that side of things, and we spoke with Ken Tracy, you know, about an hour ago about kind of those outside things that aren't really noticed that they do, you know, with the education of business and teaching them about taxes and, you know, investment portfolios, this, that, and the other. Do you think there's a way to kind of push that to the forefront a little bit more and kind of show, hey, not only does Cincy Reigns provide this monetary value through the NIL, but we also want to help you out this way? Because I think the more that people hear about that, then they're going to there's going to be at least a certain section of people that would kind of feel inclined to support that side of things.
I think if you look at what Cincy Reigns does, it's really about giving the kids an avenue to impact the city in a positive way. That's the way I describe it to people. Because when I look at Cincy Reigns, like, you know, it's a collective. There's a bunch of collectives out there, but I think what sets Cincy Reigns apart is that they really want the kids to go out there and base their opportunities around Cincinnati. This, even like the things they do with or for Cincy Reigns, you know, collectives, they could just have you send a tweet and, you know, you'd be done. Our guys are out at food pantries. You know, our guys are out playing basketball with kids, reading, you know, there's just so many things that, and, you know, it's good for all parties because, you know, the youth get impacted or underprivileged communities. Our guys get to experience, you know, getting out and talking to people, the city. Like like I said, I'm kind of the intermediary for a lot of things. And I've heard so many like passing stories of like, oh, I had to do this, you know, the thing for Cincy Reigns and I got to talk to this kid and I made his day, or I got to sign an autograph. Like there's just like little things like that that never get talked about that I don't think people see. And that doesn't happen without Cincy Reigns.
The NIL is ever evolving. There's always things changing with the rules around the school, around the NIL itself, around the student athletes, all of that. But as of late, there have been some of the rules have gotten more lax in the way that the school can be involved with the NIL. How has that changed the way that you can kind of maneuver things as the school's allowed to be much more involved now than it was a year ago?
The main 3 rule changes that I think are most prevalent to this conversation are: 1, they can do NIL activations while on call. So what that means is, you know, there may be a chance that one day after practice, a kid can shoot a commercial, or before practice, which is interesting. And I can't wait to see how that shakes out. I think we're going to get some legendary memes from that. The second thing, and what I'm more excited about, is we can help identify and possibly facilitate opportunities for our student athletes, which is huge just because, you know, as a, you know, NIL director, the amount of inbound requests we get are amazing. I, unlike my peers, live in the city of Cincinnati, and this is the best city to do NIL in, like, hands down, bar none. Like, I'm not just saying that. It's no one else has a, you know, 7 Fortune 500 companies down the street and all these like local businesses that are starting up and all these things. You know, most of my peers are in the middle of nowhere college towns, yet we're here in like possibly the best city for NIL in the country. And now because of that, I can be more proactive and honestly just educating our city on what NIL is and how they can get involved. And there's not as much red tape you have to jump through. There's still things you have to consider. There's always things, you know, there's still rules, but now we can be a little bit more aggressive with it. And I feel like that's kind of the theme for our entire department when it comes to NIL is we want to be extremely aggressive. We want to be, obviously, think before we leap, but once we jump, we're jumping off. We're jumping off. We're not looking back. You know, recruit, retain, reign, repeat. That's the saying. That's what I look at when I go in my office. And then finally, we can help the student athletes with like services and tasks. So if a student athlete's like, hey, I need help with taxes, it's not, well, before it was like, hey, go to Cincy Reigns. Now it's still that, but also, you know, we can do stuff on the institutional side. I hope there's an avenue down the line that we can like partner up and do something together. I think that'd be really fun. But yeah, there's a lot more that we can do for them and a lot more that we can offer support wise.
So you attended LSU, correct?
Correct.
What was the kind of path that led you to not only enter into this sort of you know, because obviously NIL's new, this whole entire thing is relatively new. What kind of led you to study that in school, and then what kind of led you to then coming to Cincinnati and obviously working for the university and then eventually partnering with Cincy Reigns?
I'll give it the TLDR.
Yeah.
I was not an NCAA athlete, but I was a student athlete in sorts. I had a weird path. So I was on Team USA for powerlifting, and I did that while I was in school. So I never had to deal with the NCAA laws. So NIL to me is not a new thing. You know, I did endorsement deals. I, you know, had to read contracts. My first I tell student athletes this all the time. My first contract I ever got was like 22 pages. Didn't read it. Saw the money on it, signed it, and went about my day. And I feel like I missed out on a lot of opportunities to monetize my brand, build my brand. So a lot of my like work in this job is to make sure our student athletes don't have the same mistakes. You know, they take every opportunity to monetize and build their brands, because a lot of our student athletes, especially the ones that are local, can really stay here and grow here and like plant roots here and like help build the city. But back to my point, sorry. So I was doing that and I was at LSU, and I remember this vividly. One day I left practice, went to my internship in the athletic department, and everyone was running around like crazy. And I open my phone and I see Bo Nix holding some sweet tea. And I'm like, huh, that's interesting. And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, NIL, it's ready, it's happening. And, half of the staff was flying to Times Square to go do something with an athlete. And I was like, whoa, this is. And then I finally got the breakdown. I was like, oh, this is what I've been doing for the last 4 years. Okay, this is like not new. I find it funny that everyone calls it NIL because it's just influencer marketing, which has been around for a while. Right. NIL is just what we call it for college athletics, but same rules apply. As I tell my athletes, you guys just have it easier because you already have a platform. You don't have to build one. Yeah. That's how I got here. TLDR.
We all read it. It wasn't too long.
So what are the goals for this next school year going forward for you? And I'm assuming you have a staff of some sort underneath you.
Yeah. So right now, we're nominated for best NIL department in the country. And hopefully we win that this summer at the NIL summit. So right now I'm finishing up campaigning for that. After that, with the new rule changes, we can educate them much better, as I said. So right now, all summer, I'm just figuring out what we can get rid of, what we can keep, how we can elevate the things we've already been doing. I had 367-ish one-on-one meetings with our athletes to talk about building their brands. And I'm trying to figure out how I can keep those, but also like how I can make them digital and like the other things we can do, how I can expand our outreach, because I think now with the new rules, what's more important is getting businesses involved, because everyone can get involved in NIL in some way. Primarily you can donate to Cincy Reigns if you want to go like direct to athlete support, just like that. But if you have a business and you want to see, your favorite Cincinnati athlete rep your business, just contact me. Or, even if you don't have either of those things, you can at least give me a connection or like, hey, I think this would be a cool deal for X athlete. I think, everyone can play a role in NIL. Like, I'm not from here. I just discovered like my new favorite pizza place the other day. And little things like that, everyone already knows and they already have connections. So if you want to blow up my LinkedIn with just NIL tips, go for it. Or my email, like I am inviting that.
What is kind of the most, unique or craziest idea pitched to you as far as it goes with whether it be a singular athlete that was trying to get an NIL or a company or something along those lines that was reaching out about an athlete?
I think the most unique thing that was pitched was, you guys know Jimmy Buffett, right?
Yeah.
One of our student athletes, he's a cross country runner. He has this is going to sound like a joke, but it's not. He has an NIL deal with Margaritaville, like the resorts, and They learn all the business of like the resorts and the restaurant business. Yeah. And it's like really cool. And a lot of NIL is learning business. And so you hear Margaritaville and you're thinking he's like, promoting that, but really he's learning about like hospitality and business and like behind the scene things. So when he came to me though, and he was like, hey, I have this contract for Margaritaville. And I was like, what? It's like, but no, it's really cool. I think that another one that's kind of along the same lines, awesome. Dante's Burger. I think that Dante's Burger at Bucketheads, I think that people see the burger and they're like, that's a cool story and all that. Like he's making money from the burger. But I think Dante's actually learned so much about business and the restaurant business and things like that. And I really think that everyone can get involved in NIL because it's really a way to teach our athletes. Like, if you own an accounting firm and one of our athletes is an accountant, yes, they can promote your firm, but also they can shadow you. They can, do a lot of things that they wouldn't normally be able to do because of their schedules. And, that's an easy way to make your company cool. You want people to come work at your company, come get one of our superstar athletes to come rep you, because, to me, accounting, boring. But you put one of our UC athletes in front of it, and all of a sudden I need an accountant.
Right. Exactly. Aaron?
Last year there was an NIL deal with one of the football players in regards to the WWE. I half expected you to say that was one of the most unique ones.
That one really didn't shock me. I think that's a great pipeline. Like the student athlete to WWE, it was super cool. But like when I sat down and thought about it, I was like, this makes so much sense. Why didn't I think of this?
Right.
I think that when you look at NIL and those personalities that they had, the people they picked, it was super cool. And honestly, I wish I would have thought of it first, because I should have reached out to them first about it.
Yeah, they have some no-brainer athletes that they
picked. Like it made so much sense.
Mad at yourself. You're mad at yourself.
Cam Jones.
All right.
That's 6'9", long hair.
Yeah, like
huge,
electric personality.
Right, exactly. Sure.
One thing I do want to say about Cincy Reigns, I don't know if the general public knows this, but most collectives don't work with all sports. They only work with primarily football and/or men's basketball. My absolute favorite thing about Cincy Reigns is that they work with all of our sports, and specifically, Cincy Reigns was able to be a part of their In Her Likeness event this year alongside Alta Fiber, where they gave 100 girls $100 to do $10,000 in NIL in one night, which was what I believe to be the largest NIL collective activation for female athletes ever in the history of NIL. And I know people have reservations about giving or stuff like that, but come on. It's really amazing what they're doing, and they want to do more. They want to help out. Like, they love this city. You can tell, like, they're Cincinnati people through and through. And you guys have a great collective. We have a great collective. We hit the collective genetic lottery.
Yeah. I think I was gonna say, I think a lot of these collectives were thrown together just as like money laundering
funneling,
systems.
Yeah, like a money funnel.
And with B Fox and Ken Tracy and those guys, like, they've been around the university and the athletes and the athletic department long enough that they had a bigger vision for it, other than just this is how we're going to launder money to our players. And I think that has become evident, like, as this thing has continued to grow, that their vision is different than what a lot of these collectives have been built around. And in my opinion, at least, looking from the outside in, it makes it a lot more sustainable, because it's not just a way to throw cash at people. Now, obviously there's connections and guys get their money, but there's a little more depth to it. And I think when you're making a recruiting pitch, when you're making a sales pitch, essentially, which is what you're doing in recruiting anyway, when you're doing that now, like, it feels like the Cincy Reigns side of it is connecting with potential student athletes, because they see, okay, well, this actually has a little bit more of a long-term vision than just I'm going to get this lump sum of money now, and then I'm never going to hear from these people again.
I think the main thing with Cincy Reigns is that when they talk to our current athletes, they are not talking about them like in the current tense. They're always talking about the next thing, once you finish ball, or next year, or next semester, or next month. So you're not, once you graduate and you're done, you're not damaged goods to them. You're like, all right, cool, you're off the payroll. It's the love and the investment and the care that they put into them. And I don't think that they're just, athletes for X amount of time. I think these are going to be connections they make for life. And, I feel like when 4 or 5 years from now, Dante can call up Ken Tracy and talk about whatever, or B Fox, or, Chris, whatever, because they're actually investing and they're putting in the work and the time to learn the guys and, be mentors and like be there for them.
So you are very well. Yeah, I agree. you are very well versed on this topic and kind of, you know, seem to know a path of where it's heading. Where would you kind of project that, you know, not only Cincy Reigns, but kind of the whole NIL is across the entire country is going to head? Like, which direction is it going to be? Just continuing to build all the collectives and just the strongest collective will survive. But where are you seeing this whole entire NIL path heading in the near future?
Well, I would like to preface this by saying anyone that says there's an expert in NIL is lying, because that doesn't exist.
Right.
I will say, I don't see we're definitely going to have some sort of revenue sharing. I don't see how we get away from that. But I also don't see how collectives go away in that same sense. So to answer your question, both of those things will happen at the same time. I don't know how they will live in the same ecosystem, but I think it'll be really interesting to see how these court cases shake out, and, you know, who has to get what money, and, you know, what's money is eligible to what, you know, federal laws and what's not. And the kind of, if, you know, players bargain or if they don't bargain. I think I'm more so interested to see how the players do or don't bargain. I think will tell us what's going to happen.
Which then directly ties into all the added things that Cincinnati Reigns does outside of just the, you know, normal face value that Chad was mentioning of what people think the whole NIL thing is. So yeah, it's an awesome step, and gosh, it's sweet to be a part of this. So are you then involved in each of the events and things that Cincinnati Reigns is able to put on and kind of line up the athletes for those, like they have coming up on Thursday, I believe, this week?
Yeah, sort of. It kind of depends. Sometimes they'll just text me and be like, hey, we need so and so, and I can just be an intermediary for them. I have gone to a good amount. My favorite Cincinnati Reigns event was obviously In Her Likeness, but my favorite like event was signing day. I thought that was like 5-star event. Like I think that's the standard of collective events, and I'm so glad that no one else was there to steal it from us. Like if I could 5-star an event, it was that. Like obviously I work with our football team, and that event was so well put together, made me feel like a fan. I was like, wow, we signed him. I know we signed him. I was there. But it was a great event. It was amazing. I would say though, yeah, however I can help out within the rules and staying compliant. I try my best, because it takes a village, and it's not just, you know, I always say I want to build an ecosystem of NIL around these kids. Like I don't just want to get them brand deals and like, all right, post on social media. Like I want to educate them on what they're doing. I want to like teach them how to build their brand in a responsible way. And, you know, Cincinnati Reigns is a part of that. You know, my department's a part of that, but our whole department is a part of that. Like it's a collective effort down from John down. Like everyone helps out in NIL. That's the only way that you can have a successful NIL department.
Yeah. Chad?
Sorry, I'm typing out stuff. I'm getting people, trying to get
the flow going.
Get the numbers up. We got to get the numbers up, Daddy. We got to hit 513 today. The last time we did something like this, we didn't go off the air until we hit the goal, and we were on the air for 15 hours. So we'll do what we got to do.
Do you drink energy drinks, or are you just a ball of energy?
I don't drink coffee. I don't drink energy drinks. I have a little caffeine from time to time. I got the Bob Mangine special right now, a nice little can of Dr. Pepper, and that's about it. I don't need uppers, fortunately.
Okay.
All organic, Chad. All
organic. I am just a spaz. Eddie, basically I've found a way to make my ADHD work for me.
That's impressive. I am the opposite. I think it's all the years of powerlifting. My body craves energy drinks, and it's really bad.
Yeah. I mean, in my younger days, I dabbled in that, and you probably will not know this reference, but have you ever seen the meme about Saved by the Bell? Where are you familiar with Saved by the Bell at all?
I have no idea what that is.
Wow.
There was a TV show back in the 90s.
Eddie, check out some episodes. It's a pretty good show.
One of the characters took a bunch of caffeine pills, I think, and she got it. She said, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And then I'm so scared because her body couldn't handle all of the energy. That's me on any energy drinks. Deanna knows I'm so excited.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah,
check
that
out
was
some
me
Saved by the Bell.
that was me when the NIL rules changed.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you joining us. Thank you. Where can the people find you if they want to connect?
Yeah, so I'm on X, which is what it's called now. The one, like number one, Eddie Taylor. My main platform, as I want it to be the student athlete's main platform, is LinkedIn. So you can just type in Eddie Taylor on LinkedIn. And I just want to leave you guys with two things. One, please blow up all my socials with NIL tips or getting connected or whatever, however I can best help you assist our athletes and, build their brands and build them up. And two, again, I just want to end with Cincy Reigns is the standard when it comes to collectives. And I've seen a lot of collectives. We have the standard, and the love and support they're giving these guys and gals is second to none. Recruit, retain, reign, repeat. That's what we're going to do. And you guys are a big part of that. So thank you for your support. And let's get this thing going, the 513.
It's like Eddie. Family.
Huh.
Did you see
Not
what I did there?
Not falling for it.
Hey,
see what I did there?
For it. No. Eddie, that's awesome. Man. Thank you so much.
I have to ask, what was the LSU reaction to Brian Kelly dropping a family on you?
I was there when it happened, actually. I was in the crowd, and I just remember him saying it, and I was like,
isn't this guy from Boston?
I didn't know much about Brian Kelly until they hired him, and I just know, I was like, that's an interesting accent, and that's all I thought, and then it went on about my day.
That you talk about going viral. That went viral.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great guy.
All right, Eddie, we appreciate it, man. Thank you a million, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Eddie.
There you go. Eddie Taylor, NIL strategic liaison, working with the kids. And we've learned a lot about the inner workings today that have made me feel so much better about